Hey, thanks for joining us for another episode of 5 Drinks to Midnight. The show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks, we try to wrap up before midnight. Today we are headed back to Bar Moga to talk to Aubrey Slater, Chief Brand Development Officer of Saint Luna Spirits. But before we do, like and subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles, leave a comment if you like what we're doing. Let's get started. Five questions, midnight, whatever comes first. Thank you so much for joining me at Bar Moga. How are you doing today?
I am phenomenal. If I were any better, I'd be twins.
Thank you. Again, huge fan. Really excited to sit down and have some drinks with you. I guess question one, what are we drinking first?
So I do a lot of tastings in liquor stores being a brand owner. It's when you are the owner of an upstart spirit brand, it's all you doing everything. And the tastings aren't exactly my favorite thing to do, but, it's to educate the public. Exposure is everything. When people ask me, how do I drink it? What cocktails it works well in? How do I use it? I always tell them, one of my favorite things to do, because it's 95% sugar cane based and 5% rye. Okay. It has a natural sweetness to it from all that molasses and all the funkiness that comes from sugar cane. And so I'm just I enjoy slow sipping on a skinny girl old fashioned. Excellent. And for me, it's everything in an old fashioned except for the simple syrup. Okay. So you have this beautiful sugar cane based spirit. It's got the spiciness of the rye. I just add, a nice large format cube to make it look sassy. Nice. A little bit of Angostura bitters, a little bit of orange bitters to keep it classic. And then, whatever citrus you have on hand. Here we were lucky enough, we have lemon and orange.
Very nice.
So both of those together just give all the proper aromatics, the funkiness from the molasses-based spirit. And it's just a delicious little simple cocktail.
Fuck yeah. Cheers.
Lunch.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
It's definitely fire in the hole.
Yeah.
I mean, it is it's definitely warming, wakes you up. Citrus is there. The sweetness is there. The spiciness is there.
It's fucking delicious. That is, wow.
Right? It's we have this, it's hard to describe. We have moonshine on the label, but our bottle is this gorgeous Italian glass vessel. The label's exquisite, and it's a well-crafted spirit from molasses and rye, but, people see moonshine on there, and it's honestly, you get so many preconceived notions as to what a moonshine is, and, but it is just such a beautiful spirit that, as a sommelier, when I look at the quality of wine is how long does it last on your palate and does it take you through an evolution of flavors? And I believe that this, acts accordingly.
Fuck yeah. It's, damn delicious.
Right?
Cheers again.
Hell yeah. I know. Simple, elegant. It's a nice little, warm winter night sipper.
Oh, that is nice. All right, so question one. It's always an origin story. So you are Wine Enthusiast, 40 to watch, worked from Tom Colicchio, worked with Souther, bartended from Maui to across the globe.
All that stuff.
All that stuff. How'd you get started in the hospitality industry?
I lied. I lied like every other person who's really trying to, get their break. Yeah. I started off my first real bar job was when I was 18, and a friend of mine was an assistant manager at a nightclub in DC. Okay. And asked me if I'd like to bar back. I mean, as an 18-year-old, I was yeah, this is what I want to do. And I only did it for a couple months because then I went to Ohio State for my freshman year of college. And then when I came back, you know, I was working in restaurants, and one of my first restaurant jobs was this local neighborhood place. And I'm harassing the manager, like, can I please bartend? And you know, it's always like, well, do you have bartending experience? And I'm just like, yes, absolutely. And then I'd go home, and my girlfriend at the time, who was a bartender, made me flashcards.
Okay.
Now, this is like circa 95, 96. So it was like, what's in a Long Island iced tea? What's in a Sex on the Beach? What's in an Alabama Slammer? You know, and just like, what's in a rum and coke? You know? And you know, I didn't really need to know what the hell was in a margarita.
Right.
Because it was all pre-batched, you know, it came in a big jug.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
water and done.
Bug juice, you know. It's like, here's a gallon of margarita mix, just add cheap tequila, triple sec and serve. You know, so it's just like very little, you know, like memory that needed to be, except for like the Rolodex I have in my head of all the horrible shooters that came out of that area, like Flaming Dr. Peppers, that time of the month. Broke down golf carts, sex with an alligator. I mean, you name it. Italian surfers on acid. It's just like, you know, and whenever somebody would come up to the bar and ask for one of these drinks that I hadn't had the pleasure of making yet, I'd be like, listen, I know 5 ways of making it, which, how do you like yours? And then, so I'm just like, well, free reign.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's your Scooby snack.
Pour it all in.
So that's basically how I got my start. And then, you know, back then, especially in the service industry, servers and bartenders made a separate minimum wage from regular employed people. You know, when everybody else was making like $6 an hour, we were making like $2.30 an hour because we got the tips.
Okay.
So a lot of times, you know, when I got my paycheck, it would come back void. This is not a check, because all my money would be taken out in taxes.
Yeah, sure.
And then I'd end up owing at the end of the year, and I'm just like, well, this just isn't right. And then I found out, you know, that bartenders were making $5 an hour. So I was like, well, if I can at least get a couple bar shifts a week, that covers the taxes. I actually get a paycheck and might actually get a little money at the end of the year.
Is it true that, like, you were discovered in Beaver, Pennsylvania, bartending, and you moved to New York?
That was my origin story for this city, yeah. You know, I was part owner of a bar in San Francisco. I've been bartending. I've worked under the great Del DeGroff, helped him open up a bar in Los Angeles. So he was like my first real mentor as far as like bar goes. So I guess my first real mentor was an asshole named John, who was the owner of the restaurant I bartended at in DC. But he was an old New Orleans guy, and our back bar had like 1,000 different bottles. You know, back then, like, no one knew what Punti Mace was, you know, and it's just like, I learned at the end of the day we would take straws, just me and the staff, close our eyes and throw a straw and hit a bottle, and that's what we took a shot of. Okay. And that was my education.
It's a dangerous game.
It was, but I mean...
You learn quick.
You do, and the rewards are endless. But as far as New York, you know, I had a hard time in San Francisco. The economy collapsed in 2008. My mom needed help taking care of my grandfather. My girlfriend and I had broken up, and I was out of work. So the stars aligned. I moved to Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. You know, and I worked in a couple high-end places and helped create some cocktail programs in Pittsburgh. But that wasn't what got me discovered. You know, I needed a job closer to my mom and my grandfather, and it was in a beer-centric restaurant in a mall in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. So, yes, not exactly where one would expect to be discovered. Okay. But I feel like that's how those stories start out.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a handsome mechanic in, you know, Fairfield, Iowa. Now he's Brad Pitt. You know, like something crazy like that. You know, it's like love finds you.
Yeah. So, and then I guess, how did Saint Luna come about?
Well, unfortunately, I can't take any credit for that. My business partner, David, he helped build a baby product company from the ground up, a high-end company. And it was kind of like, you know, a large part of it was bought out by a third-party management company, like a hedge fund. And the whole corporate culture changed, and he hated it. Yeah. Just despised working there. Sold his share. Was thinking about, you know, he's an entrepreneur at heart. And he was like, what can I do that's, that's trending and fun, that where I can be my own boss. And he was thinking about doing marijuana edibles.
Okay.
Then he had an incident at a family Thanksgiving where, he's talking about starting another business, and he's drinking his wine, and he just spent all this money to entertain all of his family. And one of his family members turned to him and said, well, why don't you do what you're good at? While he's taking a sip of wine, he was just like, well, yeah, you know what, maybe I will. Yeah. So he was seeking alcohol.
Yeah.
He was talking with his former business partner, and she's like, well, the organic chemist who makes all of our organic baby soaps and lotions is a master moonshiner.
Perfect.
So he was just like, oh my, okay. So sight unseen, never met this man. David's this, small gay gentleman from New York City, flies down south to go to an illegal still with people he had never met before. It's like how all horror movies start out. And Scott, our master distiller and creator of Saint Luna, is this amazing, wonderful man. Just like a brilliant mind. Like, he's an organic chemist. He's a master moonshiner. He's a carpenter. He plays rugby. He's a beautiful, an amazing father. And so David met Scott. Scott took David to the still. David tried Saint Luna at 190 proof straight out the still.
Drop. Went
and yeah, right. He was like, it was delicious. I'm just like, after your tongue grew back. So they proofed it down. David bought the recipe, licensed it, went through all the, the rigmarole, and out popped Saint Luna.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
and then
cool.
He found me when I was the beverage director of a high-end rum bar in East Village. Okay. And of course, he was trying to soft sell me. And this was February 2020.
Right.
So you can kind of see where this is going.
Yeah.
So we exchanged information that evening, and then fast forward 6 months later to June, and I get this random text message. Hey, I'm bored to tears. I have 2 dogs, and I live near Central Park. Do you want to hang out? And I'm like, who the hell is this? And so I'm just like, who the hell is this?
You still said yes.
And he's like, it's David the Moonshine guy. And I'm like, what? David the Moonshine guy? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, I remember you. I'm like, yes, I am also bored to tears. I also like dogs and playing Frisbee.
There you go.
So we ended up hanging out, and then, I was creating cocktails and styling cocktails for photo shoots. And we became fast friends. Then the beginning of 2021, I was brought on by my former boss to open up a brand new cocktail bar in the East Village, and I basically helped build it from the ground up.
Okay.
And we were about 2-3 weeks out from grand opening, and David's like, hey, you're from Pittsburgh originally. I'm like, yeah. Kinda, sorta.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
I was like, I did bartend there. I was like, I know some people if you need some contacts. And he's like, would you like to come on a business trip with me? And we went and opened up 8 accounts in a day and a half. And then he was just like, would you be my business partner?
Yeah.
He needed my networking. He needed my, the street cred.
Right.
I'm the bitch with the skills. To make the cocktails pretty. And so I'm just like, man, you really got to throw a wrench in my machinery right now. I'm just 2 weeks out from this grand opening. How am I going to tell the owner of this bar that I'm not going to be your girl? And so I did. I told him, and he was just like, thank you for not, beating around the bush. Thank you for not waiting. He's like, thank you for being honest with me. He's like, I love you, Aubrey. I wish you the best luck. And if, anything should happen, you always have a home with us. And gave me his blessing. And
awesome.
Chief Brand Development Queen I was.
There we go.
I donned the crown and became the royalty of moonshine.
There we go. Well, that's a fucking awesome origin story. So
it's not horrible. I mean, it could be worse.
It could be, but it's not. So, there we go. Question 1. Question 2, drink 2. What are we drinking?
So this is my pink Corvette.
Okay.
So I was tasked with creating a cocktail for the Barbie movie.
Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie.
Hi Barbie.
Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie.
Hi Barbie.
Hi Ken.
As an older trans person, you know, back when I was younger, we didn't have Facebook groups or, you know, any kind of support groups. There was nothing about, you know, trans people that I could do research on or anything or associate myself with. So a life of repression. But one of the things that I coveted when I was younger was my neighbor's remote control pink Corvette. So I was just like, as an homage to both, you know, younger me, you know, never really getting to enjoy the things that I would have liked to have.
All right.
And also to Barbie and the pink Corvette, I created this drink.
Awesome.
And the pink Corvette is also a representation, if you will, of, you know, my tiki past and tiki bars that I've worked at and my passion for tropical drinks. You know, it's like when I was bartending in Maui, we didn't have tiki drinks.
Sure.
They were just called drinks. You know, so it's just like I didn't really get exposed to tiki until I moved to San Francisco.
Okay.
And then I lived a couple blocks away from the Polynesian. We had Smuggler's Cove there.
Nice.
You know, and then I started to realize exactly, like I knew of tiki, but it was like grass skirts, you know, coconut shell bras, real cheesy and gimmicky. And, you know, I never really indulged in a tiki cocktail. And so then, you know, when I finally did get to it, it's just like, oh wow, there's this whole other world, you know, of bartending that is super exciting. And I got to be, you know, beverage director of a popular high-end rum bar and tiki spot here in the city. So this is kind of like an homage to my you know, tiki endeavors. And this specific cocktail is definitely one of my all-time favorites.
Awesome.
It has cinnamon simple. It's got absinthe, Luxardo maraschino, Saint Luna, some lemon juice, guava, and some Peychaud bitters.
Fuck yeah.
It's pretty, it's pink, it's potent, and it's everything you want in a tiki cocktail. It's sweet, it's dry, it's juicy, it's fun,
Fuck yeah.
and it's pretty and pink.
It is. All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Let's give her a test drive.
Fuck yeah. Damn. Oh yeah. That's fucking delicious.
Right?
Or should I say, come on, Barbie, let's go party. Like this.
Yeah, I know, right? In a Barbie world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
yeah.
This is one of my favorites. It's fun, it's easy, you know, it's got a whole lot of different tasting notes, and you know.
Well, question two, I mean, everybody has kind of a moonshine story. You kind of talked a little bit about it in your origin story a little bit. How there's moonshine and then there's Saint Luna in this beautiful bottle, this Italian bottle, like everything. Can you, for the people that don't know, can you tell us what Saint Luna is and like what it's all about?
Saint Luna for us is kind of like a movement.
Okay.
You know, about 10, 12 years ago, moonshine had this kind of heyday. And it was brought to the general public out from the shadows by larger companies that were putting it in mason jars, and then they would fill it with, you know, like canned peaches or maraschino cherries or pickles or apple pie filling. And, you know, instead of treating moonshine like a true heritage spirit, they treated it like a gimmick. Mm-hmm. You know, it became the thing of, you know, like, oh, I bought this jar of apple pie moonshine for Christmas, you know, as a gift, you know, as a joke gift. Or, you know, it's like they're selling Everclear with juice in it to young girls from New York at bachelorette parties in Nashville. You know, and a lot of people don't really know exactly what moonshine is. You know, they think Prohibition, bathtub gin, just like rot gut, you know, toothless hillbillies out in the woods at night where there's like raccoons doing the backstroke in their fermenting vat, you know, like not really knowing what's going into it. But then it's just like you traverse across the pond to Europe, and they're making eau de vie. You know, this beautiful sounding spirit, and it's basically, you know, if you own an apple orchard, a peach orchard, you know, and you have a surplus of leftover fruit, especially if it's going bad, the fruit that people don't want, you know, it's like, what do you do with it? Well, you ferment it. And then they actually have people who come around in trucks with stills on the back that will distill your fermented juice and make you eau de vie. You know, it's just like in Eastern Europe, they're making brandies. You know, in Germany and Hungary, they're making schnapps.
Yep.
You know, in France, they're making eau de vies. And then the coolest thing about moonshine is like realizing like it's a worldwide thing. You know, because people hate paying taxes.
Exactly.
You know, that it gets expensive. Plus, like, you know, when you start making stuff on a larger scale, you try to make it, you know, generic for the people. You know, it's just vodka.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like in those like handed down recipes, like my grandfather's like plum brandy that he used to make back in Slovakia. You know, those kinds of things, you know, just remain amongst the family. So ours, you know, people here in the United States look at moonshine as either 100% corn liquor, you know, white lightning, or it's cheap grain alcohol, you know, and corn's popular because corn feed in a rural area is like sand at a beach. It is ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and it's dirt cheap. It's high in sugar. It ferments well and makes a banging distillate.
Yep.
You know, that'll melt your face like an Indiana Jones movie. So for us, you know, it's like when you don't have a celebrity endorsing your product, you don't have millions of dollars bankrolled, or you don't have generational, you know, wealth of experience like Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, how do you make your mark, you know, in such a flooded market?
Yep.
You know, are we going to be another flavored vodka? And how do we afford the marketing to express why our flavored vodka is better than their flavored vodka, you know? And so my business partner was thinking, like, moonshine, is there a high-end moonshine? And the answer is no. There really isn't. You know, there's a few companies out there, but say, you know, a lot of people these days, what they're passing off of moonshine is an upstart bourbon house. You know, It takes months to years to create that bourbon. How do you keep it going until it's aged? White Dog.
Yeah.
You know, White Dog had a very quick blip on the radar. You
People
know,
went nuts for White Dog.
for like maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
And, you know, it really fell out of fashion really quick because it just, the flavor wasn't there. Like, those people are aging it in barrels for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, so the two rules of moonshine are it's illegal, you know, it's representation without taxation, or taxation without representation, I should say. You know, no regulations. And so we came up with this, like, how about we do a premium moonshine and actually give the spirit category, you know, the kudos that it deserves. You know, it's truly an American heritage spirit, and it needs to be treated as such. You know, and the cool thing about moonshine is that you can use anything. Like, there was a very famous moonshiner named Popcorn Sutton.
Yep.
And one of his favorite moonshines that he ever made was a blackberry moonshine.
Okay.
You know, so it's like whatever fermentable, you know, product you could put in it, be it fruit, grain, you know, corn, it's you can mix and match, you know. And it's cool that companies like Empirical are coming out, like, what is Empirical? It's a neutral grain spirit, but they're having fun with the flavor profiles, things that haven't been done before, You know, like there aren't a lot of blended spirits that are on the market. You know, there's not a lot of products that are going to showcase, you know, a rum and a rye whiskey in the same bottle together. And that's what this is. So it gave us an edge in marketing because we're a premium moonshine. And there aren't that many out there. So where's our competition? Now we're in a position where we can create our own competition.
That's awesome.
You know, and competition's healthy. We want that.
Yeah.
You know, because it gives more, you know, exposure to moonshine. And hopefully people want to step up their game.
Yeah.
You know, and actually create moonshines or spirits that are outside the box. People know what a rum tastes like, people know what a whiskey tastes like, but do they know what it tastes like when it's blended together?
Probably not.
Not so much.
Yeah.
You know, and if they do, it's because it's mixed in a cocktail with other ingredients.
Yeah.
So you're not really getting the full spectrum of flavors from a rye and a rum put together in a cocktail. You know, but you do get it in Saint Luna.
Right.
You get all the esters from the sugar cane, all that ugo, all that funkiness that you would get from a Jamaican pot still. The caramel, the vanilla, the grassiness, you know, funky banana esters. And then with the rye, you get chocolate, white pepper, a hint of baking spices, and then we charcoal filter it. And a lot of people are like, well, that just gets rid of impurities, right? It's like, no, it's a distillate.
Yeah.
It comes out pure.
Yeah.
You know, other than the heads and the tails, like, it's a pure spirit. That's why it's called spirit.
Yeah.
Pure in spirit. And so the charcoal filtering is like the same thing that Jack Daniels uses. It just imparts an added layer of flavor with a hint of smoke.
Nice.
So vanilla, caramel, white pepper, chocolate, grassiness, and smoke. Like, what a complex and beautiful, you know, palette to paint with.
Yeah.
So, and that's what it is.
And especially on like a fine sip, because I liked during our social stalking research, you classified it as a sipping moonshine. Like, it's not something, because again of the story, like you said, the girls from New York going to Tennessee, and like it, like.
And just getting a bottle of Everclear, and
right.
they're like, "Oh, I bought moonshine," because they repackaged it.
Yeah, exactly, and like it put some canned like whatever fruit in it. And and all you're doing then is just tasting very little and burning and
at that point, it's not about the spirit; it's about getting trashed, you know, and kissing cops.
Yeah.
On your scavenger hunt.
There you go.
You know? Like, how trash can we get and how obnoxious can we be?
Yeah.
So that's but it's, and I hate to say this, but we've actually been thinking about taking moonshine off the label.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
All right, breaking news.
Yeah, I think we're going to switch to something more of like along the lines of American craft spirit.
Okay.
I love moonshine. I know a lot of people who love moonshine. Everybody's got some sort of moonshine story, whether it be their weird uncle used to make it, or their neighbors up camp, and the mitten of Michigan makes it during summer, or it's like they taste it at a bachelorette party. They got it from a gas station when they visit Nashville. But it takes me too long to explain why you should drink moonshine.
Right.
And as much as I love being a proponent for moonshine, I'm also a business owner.
Yeah.
And this is my life, At 50 years old now, it's like, how many more pivots can I possibly get out of myself?
Well, no, but I think you're absolutely right, because you nailed it in the beginning, where moonshine was a blip on American race. Like, it had its moment. Like, it was going crazy. Like, you said, like, there was that TV show, and then there was the, and everything, and then, people were buying it in mason jars, and it was all cool, and then you were giving it to friends at bars, because you just wanted them to do a shot of Everclear and watch them make that face, and, like, that was...
Now those companies with, like, the pickles in it, and the maraschino cherries in it, like, they're basically just being used as high-proof garnishes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I'm going to put that pickle in my Bloody Mary, but I'm not going to use the moonshine.
All you're doing is just making really great veggies.
Yeah, exactly. These are high-proof pickles.
Yeah.
I'd love to fight the good fight. And I'm still, when I'm describing Saint Luna, it will be described as a moonshine.
Yeah.
We started off illegally in a still somewhere that I will not talk about. But with that being said, you know, there's amazing home distillers.
Yeah.
You know, like how many amazing upstart microbreweries came out because people were making beer in their house.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be and should be like the same situation.
Agreed. Well, there we go. Question
There
2.
it is.
Cheers. Question 3, drink 3. What are we drinking?
You know, I've been bartending for so long, and you just, after a while of making so many different cocktails, like, your memory takes you back to, like, some of your first. And one of my first loves was just a Collins.
Okay.
You know, and it's like back in the 90s when I was bartending, you know, Tom Collins was gin, John Collins was vodka.
Yep.
You know, and I love gin, and always have, to the point where I would just shoot warm gin if I had to, and would love to. But we're also here at the lovely Bar Moga.
Yes.
And it's a gorgeous, amazing, just an absolutely incredible Japanese-style cocktail bar. So I wanted to bring one of my favorite, you know, cocktails that, you know, when they always ask, like, as a, you know, a mixologist, what do you like to drink? What do you order? What are your cocktails? You know, kind of thing. And, you know, I always joke around just like shot of Beam and a High Life, you know. But if I'm gonna have a cocktail, if I'm gonna make a cocktail at home, you know, I keep it simple. And a Collins to me is just such a perfect, you know, just drink, a beverage. But since we're here at Bar Moga, I used a little bit of yuzu.
Ooh, very nice.
And we used the Nika Coffee Ground Gin.
Oh, very nice.
And then I also like to add a little bit of orange blossom water.
Okay.
Just for the aromatics and that hint of flavor. And also, I remember when I was, you know, way back when I was still bartending in San Francisco, you know, when, of course, like, when you first start out as, you know, this, like, cocktail bartender, you nerd out as much as possible. You get all the books.
Yeah.
You want to read all the articles. You get all the magazines. You know, and I remember reading this article that the original Tom Collins had a splash of maraschino liqueur in it.
Okay.
So I tried it, loved it, and ever since then, my Collins always has just like a hint of maraschino liqueur in it, which I think just, you know, rounds it out. You know, it's not just lemonade and gin, you know, because at the very core of it, that's what a Collins is. You know, it's lemonade, which, you know, in the UK is Sprite.
Yeah.
You know, lemon with bubbles.
Yeah.
And so yeah, with the addition of the yuzu, the orange blossom water, a hint of maraschino, it goes from lemonade with gin to a gorgeous, refined, you know, incredibly quaffable drink.
That's fucking awesome.
Right? Let's see if it holds up.
Cheers.
Cheers. Kampai.
Yeah, that's fucking delicious.
It's not just, you know, country time. It has depths of flavor. It has well balanced. It is bubbly. It is citrusy. It is floral. Hint of fruit. You know, and then you have all the botanicals from gin. I mean, what more do you want in like just a cool, easy drinking refresher?
And this has the maraschino like in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucking awesome trick. Like that's, yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, it's what transforms it from lemonade and gin to a cocktail, a beautiful drink. And it's always just been one of my favorites. Right up there with Absolute Currant and Sprite.
Yeah, no, this is fucking delicious. This is...
Yeah, it's easy drinking.
I wish it was warmer outside, because this would be a fucking great, like, outside summer sipper. Like that.
Yeah, this would be a real short interview, isn't it? I'm telling you, it's just There's nothing wrong with this.
No, we could do 5 drinks of that and just be like, fuck the question.
Yeah, I'm just gonna break through a wall with a picture of it going, oh yeah! It's on. So yeah, I love a Collins, and you know, it's highballs have made the resurgence. You know, for a long time, I think, you know, Collins, anything in a Collins glass, a tall drink, kind of got like lost a little bit. You know, it was all about like martinis, old fashions, Negronis, and you know, all these other cocktails that have been resurrected. And the poor little Collins, I think, got kind of treated like all the other like bastard children of the 90s. You know, it's just like something that, you know, maybe a grandpa drank. You know, like it just wasn't that sophisticated. But as you can see now, like, you know, with the addition of orange blossom and maraschino, this is now an elevated beverage.
No, that is fucking good. And I also think the 90s, again, are making a comeback. Because, again, like if Fat Pants can make it back, then also, like, you know, blue drinks and Midori are also making a comeback. So, like, I'm down for 90s drinks to make an elevated comeback. So
I was in a Port Authority, catch the bus to Hoboken, and there's like almost like a high-end consignment shop where, you know, young upcoming fashion designers like sell their stuff. And I mean, I shit you not, there was like an upscale version of Hammer Pants, MC Hammer Pants, and I was just like, oh Lord, here we go.
I can't touch this.
No, you can't. You probably shouldn't. So yeah, gin, love it.
Yeah.
Bubbles, love them.
Can't go wrong. But also, okay, so question 3. You know, we talked about being here at Bar Moga, and our next question comes from Rio, a previous guest that we've had. And what do you think of the progress in the LGBTQ community in terms of involvement in the industry, and where do you think it's going in the future?
The future, my God. It's such an interesting term right now. I don't know. At one point, you know, when I started my transition, like actually taking hormones and doing the steps, you know, what I needed to do, it wasn't as prevalent. You know, this is like 13, 14 years ago. And then Caitlyn Jenner happened. Just kind of put a damper on things. You know, but it was interesting to see, you know, for me, I think one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, well, obviously transitioning from one gender to the next is probably one of the hardest things that you know, a human being can really, you know, experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can think back on how bad puberty was the first time, think about number 2.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
don't want to
like,
go back to it.
Wow, that's enough to make anybody really think twice, you know. And for me, I'm just like, when I thought about it, I'm just like, I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. You know, like, it wasn't a choice. Like, I didn't choose to be trans, which I think a lot of people, the general public, think that it is. You know, and I fought against it for most of my life, and it ruined every relationship I had. I was a dark person. And so for me, it was kind of a do or die situation.
Okay.
And so I chose to be me as opposed to be transgender, which, you know, was never really, you know, like, I really want to be trans. But then I made the transition, and then I had to get out there and look for a job 12 years ago as a trans woman. And I knew that there was going to be rejection, and I was cool with that. You know, I prepared myself for that. And I was lucky. You know, I interviewed at this high-end, beautiful restaurant in Harlem that was celebrating the African diaspora with an amazing James Beard awarded chef that was really, you know, wanted to represent the community in their hires, in their food, in their ethics, and I loved everything about it. And I walked into the interview, and the manager was this amazing, very sweet lesbian woman. And she's like, why wouldn't I hire you? Like, look at your resume. And I'm just like, and it started. And I still remember, like, one of my best friends now, you know, we had just met. She was a bartender. And she's like, man, she's like, you're really tall. And she's like, what are you, German? And I was just like, well, yeah, I am. Funny enough. But yeah, that's not it. And so, you know, we just kind of dropped that. And then like a week later, I'm just like, so have you figured out why I'm such a tall girl? And she's like, ah. And I'm like, you know, we talked, and I was just like over the moon that that wasn't the obvious answer that I'm trans. Yeah. But then people started calling me like a unicorn because I was the only one. And cute at first, but you know, when you start to realize that a unicorn is a herd of one.
Yeah.
It's
But also Scotland's national animal, so there you go.
Hey, there you I have a home.
Sorry.
If it's not Scottish, crap. Yeah, so you look for others, hoping, you know, that you're not the only one, because what a burden to bear, you know. And I'm not an activist, you know. I'm not out there, you know, waving banners. You know, like, to me, like, this wasn't. I didn't do this for the rest of the world. I didn't do this to prove a point. Right. You know, I did this for my own self-preservation. But I still wanted to see others like me, and there weren't. And then all of a sudden, you know, Caitlyn Jenner's show comes out, and there's trans people here, and I'm watching a sitcom, and somebody said, don't be such a cis person, you know. And I'm just like, oh wow, look at this, you know. And I took it with a grain of salt, like, you know, maybe this is, you know, some steps forward, like we're making some progress. You know, I hope that, you know, Hollywood doesn't do the same thing that to do with like every up and coming celebrity that makes it great and just like runs until they're dead. Yeah. You know, like all of a sudden Seth Rogen's in every single movie. He's the voice of every animated cartoon. You know, it's just like they just take whatever's trending and just like use it and abuse it. And I'm just like, God, please don't do that to us. Don't do that to our community. You know, like, let it be natural. You know, because I've always said, you know, as a trans person, like, my ultimate goal is to not be noticed. I just want, I identify as a middle-aged bitch. Okay. You know, just, I'm a middle-aged woman. I'm just out there doing my thing. That's it. You know, awesome. I don't want the spotlight on me. And then I remember going to a bar, and there's actually two trans people. One on the server staff and one behind the bar, and I cried. I literally cried, and they're like, oh my God, is everything okay? I'm just like, everything is phenomenal. I'm just like, it's so good to see this, you know, where I'm not alone anymore, and there's actually others, and societal views are changing, and progress is being made, and hopefully, like, it's not going to be a big deal. You know, that these people are just going to be like an employee, a valued employee, as opposed to like a diversity hire. You know, all these words like inclusivity, diversity, and all this, you know, it's just like, they come about, you know, trying to make people who aren't diverse feel comfortable. And, you know, because I'm just trying to be boring. You know, like, I strive for boredom these days. And, you know, so...
Well, I can say you are not boring, so you should not strive.
I'm a barrel of monkeys. But,
You are a fucking riot, and a pleasure to drink with. So please, do not sell yourself short.
Thank you, Tim. I love you for that. I try to be. You know, it's like where I lack in motivation of you know, being an activist and parading and waving banners and fighting the good fight. I live for the, you know, I'm exposure. I am a trans woman who owns a liquor company, the only one in the world, just doing my thing. And if other people can see me and I am batshit crazy. You know, if I can do this, you know, then I hope that some young trans person like, you know, Boise, Idaho, or Biloxi, Mississippi, can like read, you know, a Wine Enthusiast and see this trans woman, or you know, like my Time Out article about, you know, trans trailblazing moonshine or whatever to reword it. You know, then that's my activism. I'm being me to the best of my ability, doing my best to success for me, my business, and ultimately my community. Now, as you put in the future, how do I see it going? Right now, the water's murky.
Yeah.
And when water's murky, predators attack.
Yeah.
You know, I learned as a, you know, doing spearfishing as a surfer. You know, like when the storm hits and the water churns, that's when the predators are out, and they see you a lot sooner than you see them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of predators in the water right now, and we are very small fish.
Yes.
Which boggles the mind, because we make up less than 1% of the population, you know, and we're being scapegoated just like other groups in the past. So for me, I have to stay crazy. I have to stay fun. I have to stay positive. And I have to keep not only being the best that I can be, but I really have to think about being better and being stronger. Because as someone who's been in the community for as long as I have, I need to be that pillar. I need to tell, you know, people who are coming into this in this specific social climate that it's going to be okay. You know, like we've always been here. You know, the shit has been thrust upon us before. You know, it was illegal to be gay. You couldn't get married to the person you love. And now it's attack against trans people. Like easy pickings, low-hanging fruit, really, you know, for these hate mongers. You know, like, and the only sad part is that these people really don't give a shit. They're just using us as low-hanging fruit to, you know, to mystify the rest of the population who just don't know any better. So the future is to be determined, my friend.
All right.
But I want everybody to know I will never give up the good fight. I'm a former Marine. I don't leave anyone behind. I improvise, I adapt, and I overcome.
Excellent.
And that's what we fucking will do.
Cheers to that.
Semper Fi.
Well, I will tell you. So, we met here.
Yes.
But actually, we actually met before that. We actually met at the Angels Envy Manhattan Day event. Which, I will say, you talk about not being a flag bearer or an activist, but I'm going to say bullshit, because you came into that event, you had that bottle of Saint Luna under your coat.
Always, like a proper bootlegger.
Yeah, exactly. And you were fucking pouring shots at an Angels Envy event.
Guilty.
Talking about your mission statement and how you're shining the light on the community. And I was so happy that Rio fucking introduced this when we were here, because that's when I was like, I need to get her on my
That's
show.
when Amanda Schuster gave me that gorgeous shout out. She used one of my cocktails.
Yeah.
She's like, and this beautiful Saint Luna Martinez. I was just like, God,
Yep.
I love Amanda.
So,
Love
I'm going to
Amanda.
say thank you for being a voice and being the fucking rebel, because that event, I was like, I have to find out who you are. I have to find out. And again, it was just pure coincidence that we met here, and thank you to Rio for fully introducing us, which is off of that. But,
My pleasure.
but yeah.
Did I show some belly button?
No,
Are we
we're,
gonna give...
no, we're good. But there we go. That's question
Yeah, this
two.
is a banging drink right here.
Question 4, drink 4. What are we drinking?
Yeah, we're doing the Cowgirl Cola, aka the Spaghetti Western.
Awesome.
It's a beautiful, you know, old-fashioned riff.
Okay.
I did a Coca-Cola syrup with habanero peppers.
Fuck yeah.
You know, it's like so many people are drinking spicy margaritas, spicy this, spicy that, but there really aren't a lot of spicy stirred drinks.
Sure.
And conveniently enough, I ended up at this Amaro class here at Bar Moga the other day, and you know, I'm being told that there's this new red hot Amaro where they're using like Calabrian chilies to give it spice. And I'm just like, wow, look at me being ahead of the curve. You know, I'm just like, you know, there's so many spicy cocktails, but nothing in a rich, deep, stirred beverage. So I did this cola syrup, fresh habaneros. It is equal parts Saint Luna and Moletti, which is this beautiful Italian Amaro, and has a great cola profile to it. So equal parts Saint Luna, the Cola Amaro Moletti, a little bit of barbecue bitters from the people at Bittermans, the Memphis barbecue bitters, and then we smoke it, and with a little bit of cherry wood, and a simple expression of some lemon essence, and I believe you have a perfect stir cocktail.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Oh.
Fuck yeah. That is a perfect
old-fashioned riff.
Yeah, but also that's a great drink for today. Like, it's not too cold. It is cold, but
it's not too spicy.
Yeah.
You can get it just in the back of your throat. You know, it's like I put the habanero in the syrup. In an old-fashioned, you know, you only want the syrup to just coat the bottom of the glass.
Yeah, but with the barbecue bit like that.
Yeah, savory, umami.
Yeah.
You know, it is.
It's right up my fucking alley right there. That's what that is.
There it is.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that. That is so damn good.
Pony up, cowboy. Here we are. It's rodeo time. And yes, I made it to rodeo. I have the spurs at home to prove it.
There you go. Okay, so question 4.
Uh-oh.
We always use question 4 as our psychological question because again, we've had 4 drinks. We're a little bit wide open. But so question 4 kind of comes from a little bit of your our social stalking that we did on you and in research. You talked a lot about the twisted tree versus the straight tree. And so I was wondering if you could please explain to us the difference between the twisted tree and the straight tree.
You know, as the story goes, if I can remember correctly, my God, you went on.
We deep dived.
You did. This was from a podcast, a couple podcasts.
Yeah.
I was forced to tell this story. You know, you're in a forest, and it's this beautiful, serene forest, and you know, there's 2 trees growing, and one gets all the sunlight, you know, and all of the benefits of you know nutrients and the sun and the rain, and it's growing tall and straight. There's this other little crooked little tree, you know, that's right next to it, and you know, they're growing, and the straight trees always look at this crooked, twisted little tree, and just like, oh man, like look at me, like I'm this, you know, I'm just this tall, strong, straight, beautiful tree growing, and there you are, this weird, twisted little tree, and the twisted little tree is having a hard time just coming to terms with itself, like, oh man, you know, here I am in this forest, and right next to me is this gorgeous, tall, growing tree, and you know, and then one day it's just like, here come the lumberjacks, and they're canvassing the forest, and you know, I guess the gist of the story is when this lumberjack comes up to these two trees, you know, it's the proud, tall, strong, straight tree that gets whacked and gets chopped down, and there's this weird, twisted little tree with all of its beautiful personality that gets spared in the end, you know, and it's just a testament to like being weird, being yourself, you know, like no one's perfect, everyone's flawed, and you know, like celebrate the weirdness.
Yes.
You know?
No.
Celebrate the weirdness, because that's what makes you special. You know, it's like, as a Gen Xer, you know, people are just, you know, we were never told we were special. We were
not.
We were told to get the hell out the house.
You have feelings? Shut the fuck up. Get out.
I know,
Like,
right?
Don't come
Like,
back until after dark.
I know. I don't want to see you till the lights come on. You can drink from the hose. Whatever
Exactly.
stereotypes we had, they were all true.
Yeah.
We played with knives and shot each other with BB guns.
Exactly. Yes.
And, you know, it's like, you know, we always knew, like, the next generation was just like, they were told how special they
Yeah.
are, given prizes for just showing up, you know, but it was that weird, the strangeness, the, you know, that makes you strong.
Yep.
You know, that makes you an individual, that sets you aside. You know, do you want to be like every other tree in the forest, because eventually they're going to end up a Bible.
Yeah. No. Yeah. A math book. Like it.
But there's nothing wrong with that. But,
yeah.
you know, it's just like, you know, be proud in your
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Is
No.
that the way you were talking about?
Yes, exactly. Because honestly, that stuck with me so much. Like when I found that, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Because again, even like I grew up like my town. I was the weird one. Like high school, I was the weird kid. I was the art kid. I was whatever. And then I went to art school, and then I was full of that. But then like you kind of get separated, and then moving here to New York, like I was told that like no matter how fucking weird you think you are, there's 20 people just like you.
Oh yeah, that's the excuse I make every goddamn day.
But and then I thought that it was so fitting coming to Bar Moga and having the interview, because again, a bonsai here also Bar Moga has one of the largest collection of Japanese whiskeys in the city.
They do.
And so like again,
It's a good drink.
the bonsai has a tree, like it's a weird twisted tree that flows and it grows in weird environments, and it flourishes.
It makes it stronger.
It does, and that I was so like when you said that on that podcast, it fucking stuck with me, and I was like, I have to talk about this because I think it is one of the most inspirational things. It really stuck with me. Like it just honestly, it was like, be the weird fucking twisted tree.
Be the weird twisted tree, because
If you were like everybody else, you're gonna get fucking cut.
You're gonna get fleeced.
Yeah. Don't.
It's so true, and I'm pretty sure that I learned that little fable from the amazing Tom Waits.
Excellent. I love it.
Which I will say this, that if there is a goal in many people's lives, that is to see Tom Waits live. I made it happen.
Oh, awesome.
I got to see Tom Waits play live, and I can die happy.
There you go. That's
And I learned that being a twisted little tree
is
the best route.
No, I want to say that just wanted to bring that into our question 4, our last serious question of the night, and
High five.
It was amazing. So that was
Love it. Be the twisted little tree.
Yeah. Here's to being that little fucker. So
Yeah, and
cheers.
here's the God, man, this drink is good.
Mhm.
I'll tell you what.
Question 5, drink 5.
Woo!
Last drink of the night.
Oh, my
Last
goodness.
question. What are we drinking?
Drinking a classic gin martini.
Excellent.
You know, it's just like I've worked in restaurants, well, most of my adult life, other with like 6 years in the shit with the Marines, but everything else has been in the shit in the kitchen or on the floor. And when a new chef comes and is interviewing and wants to be hired, like the one thing that an executive chef, if you're classically trained, is like, make me an omelet.
Yep.
2-ingredient dish.
Yep.
Don't
Butter
fuck
and
it
eggs,
up.
yeah.
Don't fuck it up. You
Yeah.
know, and that's what this is. This is the omelet
Okay.
of cocktails.
Excellent.
This is what you want a bartender to be able to make. I want you to make me a martini that stands up and says, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know you want to drink me.
Excellent.
And this is that martini.
All right. Well, cheers.
Chin chin. It's crisp. It's clean. It's citrusy. I do something that a lot of people would say don't do, is that when I make my martinis, I put the gin in, of course, a 2-to-1 ratio. Gin to vermouth, yes. Although I bartended in the 90s and people would say, like, put the vermouth in the window and let the sun shine through it till it hits the martini. Or instead of vermouth, we'll all stand around and sing the French national anthem. You know, just like the things you get in the 90s are so funny. Like, there's just a rumor that gin was in that vermouth was in the neighborhood.
I was gonna say, like, 90s vermouth collected
What?
dust.
I
Like,
know.
It was on the back bar, back shelf.
I know. What's
getting
vermouth?
dust. Yeah.
Exactly.
Not in the fridge, getting like sunbaked.
Getting
Like
no love.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just like it was. You know, a martini back then was just shaken hard.
Yeah.
You know, vodka or gin, like I just mentioned earlier. Like, I would have people say, like, I want you to shake it so hard that I want to see penguins floating on top of my martini. You know?
Well, again, if I see penguins floating on my martini, then just cut me off.
I know, call Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah.
Because that's it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, to me, you know, the perfect gin martini, 2-to-1. I take the lemon peel, I express it into the martini, maybe 2 or 3 peels, with the oil, with the skin, with the pith, with everything, the bitter, the sweet, the oily, the citrus. And you stir it all together in your little magic cauldron, pour it in, express one last lemon peel over it, a quick dash of ketchup, you know, orange bitters, and I personally think that I make one of the greatest martinis.
It's really fucking good. Like, that's damn good. So, cheers.
Right? To the Navy.
To the Navy. Alright, so, question 5.
Oh, goodness.
Comes down to the flip of the Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. The coin gives us the answer. You don't have to answer unless you feel so inclined to answer. But also, this is just a silly question at the end of the night, because again, we've had 5 really hardcore drinks this night.
I know. I'm
like,
surprised we made it this far.
I
Such
know.
a lightweight these
No,
days.
same, but like, so question 5.
Yeah.
It comes from a trip from Ireland, and I think it's one of the best questions that I've ever been asked. What kind of friend are you? So, we just got to know each other. We're sitting here. We've enjoyed 5 amazing drinks. So, question 5. If I killed somebody, would you turn me in?
Recently, a similar question was posed to me by one of my best friends who was my partner in crime during the early 90s, during like club kid days, raver days, like, if you OD'd, do we call the cops or the paramedics because we have an apartment filled with all kinds of incriminating things inside? If I showed up at your doorstep and said, we need to do this, would there be any questions? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of true crime.
Right.
I've learned a lot of things. Oh man, this is a test of morality, isn't it?
It is.
I am a lady of little scruples.
Which is why the coin will give us the answer, so we're good. So like, it's a fuck yeah or fuck no.
Is this how we determine if I help you bury the body?
I don't even have to help. I just want to know if you will
Just so
turn me
you
in.
know, my family's last name is Bonanno, so chances are those genes are strong within me, as the Force is with Luke. The chances are, no questions asked, I will help you dispose of Your problem.
But
But let's see what.
let's see what the coin says. Good spin. Good spin.
No, this might take a minute. You might want another sip.
Says fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah!
You will turn me in.
The fate. Is that what it is? Oh, I thought it was I would help you.
We'll rephrase it. You'll help me. There we go.
Yeah. We just need to rephrase the question. No, I'm a woman of a few morals.
This coin is busted, so yeah, it's just we'll hide it here at Bar Moga. So, but well, there we go. It's 5 drinks down.
That's it.
5 questions answered. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Bar Moga. Thank you to Rio. Like,
Oh my god, love Bar Moga.
Yeah.
I literally adore Rio.
Yeah, same.
So it's been an honor,
Same,
a pleasure.
Same. I cannot wait till we drink again. Together again. So like it's gonna,
Later today.
yeah, I was gonna say like we're just gonna continue going. So yeah, like
Thank you, Tim. Thank
you.
you for inviting
Cheers.
me on this adventure.
thank you so much.